Did either of you ever hear anything about Lisa McPherson?
I did keep hearing these rumors, and when the picketers came, I was like, Lisa McPherson, who's that? Even though she had died in the church, it seemed very clearly that they had caused her death, but they kept that completely from the staff. I mean, and especially as a cadet, I had no idea. But one day I asked my mother, who was Lisa McPherson? And she said, oh, she was just some crazy girl. She got in a car accident and she ran down the street naked. She said it like that. Like, it didn't matter because she had gone, you know, I don't know, but my mother hated her, it seemed. Like, when she talked about her, she was sneering. And I later found out that my mother... She just said she's just some crazy person. Yeah, she's some crazy person. And when I later found out on the internet that my mother watched her and was in charge of the people that watched her for her stay in the Fort Harrison. And I could not believe that, because if I had watched a girl, if I had known a girl, I'd watched her, and I'd been in charge of people that watched her for days, and later, after that, she died, I would certainly, even if I did think she was crazy, I would certainly never speak of her in terms like that. Never. I mean, I would, you know, I think you should show respect for the dead, and especially if it seemed that your church had caused their death. But my mother sneered.
And then I recently, a few weeks ago, my mother was flown to LA to stop me from doing a newspaper article about Scientology. And she was very verbal in expressing how bad some of the critics of Scientology were. And I wasn't trying to say anything to her that was mean, because she was my mother, and I was just saying, I don't want to talk about that. I'm doing the article. If you want to speak to me as my mother, that's fine.
Newspaper article.
But she kept pushing me and saying derogatory things to me. So I asked her. I said, "Well, Mom, what about Lisa McPherson?" And I said, "You watched her, and you were the direct senior of the other people who watched her, and she died. What about that?" And she said, "Well, do you know what she really died of?" And I said, "I know the story that you're going to give me. The church's story is that she died of a blood clot, that she got when she was hit by the car and later died of the blood clot." And I said, "But I've seen the autopsy photos. I've seen the reports. I know that she died of dehydration and et cetera.
She had bruises all over her.
She had bites on her and bruises, et cetera." And she said to me, I said, "Don't you have any remorse? She died. Don't you feel bad?" And she wouldn't say she felt bad. She just kept saying, then she went into well, she was crazy, she got hit by a car, she took off her clothes. And then she said, "Well, she was put in a psychiatric institute. Did you want that? Because Scientology hates psychiatry."
You know that's not true. She wasn't put in a psychiatric institute.
Right. But,
she was taken to the hospital.
Right,
Yeah.
and put in like the mental ward of the hospital or something.
They were trying to treat her.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Sure.
I don't have anything against that.
Yeah.
Not at all. That's where she should have been. She, poor girl, she needed help. You know, it's like if that's not a cry for help, what is? So she said to me, she was put in a psychiatric institute. Is that what you wanted? And I said, "Mom, she died. Anything would have been better than that. She's dead. That's the result of what you did, is she's dead. Don't you feel bad about it?" She wouldn't answer me. She wouldn't answer. She couldn't admit she was wrong, because I later found out, I assumed and then found out, that she was reporting back every word I said to her back to OSA. Because OSA told the reporter who did my story, who did our story, OSA told the reporter the things my mom had told them. So she had been reporting back everything I told her. But so she couldn't admit any wrong.
Well,
because then I would tell the reporter she admitted that, you know, it was wrong, and she wouldn't admit it.
And she would have gotten in a lot of trouble
And
for
I know
that.
that David Miscavige made a statement saying, "We're very sorry for what happened, and if we had the chance to do it differently, we would." But that's not really how they felt. Because my mom couldn't even say to me, "Yeah, we made a mistake." It was just, she was a crazy woman. She was put in a psych institute. We took her out. She died of a blood clot.
Well,
and I'm sure that's what my mom believes.
But maybe you got her thinking.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Maybe you got her
Because
thinking.
then I said to her, "Mom, something's wrong here. I wanted to kill myself. Zoe wanted to kill herself. We were miserable for years. We're your children. Does that make you feel bad?" I was trying to get to her. I was almost crying. I was like, does this have any effect on you? I wanted to kill myself. I'm your daughter. I hated it so much. I was so miserable. I am now so happy, happier than I've ever been in my life. I have a beautiful daughter. I'm doing what I want to do. Something must have been wrong with Scientology. Something must have been wrong.
No, it must have been wrong with us.
She just said nothing. She just stared at me. And that was one of the last times I saw her. So.
Well, you two are awfully lucky.
Yeah. I think
you have
so.
your lives back.
Yeah. And we have our whole lives ahead of us. Well, I work for my dad, and he has an architectural practice. I work for him.
What do you do?
Well, for the past couple of years, mainly I've been, he draws up the project, and then I take it down to the city and get approval on it. So I love doing that. I have a lot of fun, and I've met everyone there, and I have a lot of friends that I met doing that. And then I took a class, actually I took it when I was pregnant, on the GED, which is like a high school equivalency, and then I took the exam a while later, and I passed really well. I was really happy, actually.
That's great.
I got like 99 percentile
Good
scores.
for you.
So I was really happy with that, because I thought that I wouldn't even pass. That's another thing my mom has said to me, oh, if Scientology technology is so bad, how are you so smart? I mean, I don't think I'm so smart, but I'm very insulted by the fact that she thinks if I have any intelligence, it's because of Scientology. When, the reality is that I'm lucky to have gotten away with any education and any intelligence, and really what it is I studied like crazy to take the GED. I took a course for 6 weeks, and I kept studying, and I kept reading, and I kept doing things, and I passed. And then about 6 months ago, I enrolled in my first class in college, in a drafting class, and architectural drafting, and I learned how to do computer-aided drafting, and my instructor told me I was one of the best students he ever had.
Good for you.
And he gave me an A on everything I did, on all my assignments, and I'm starting my next class. Right now I only have time to do one class at a time, but I'll hopefully have time for more in the future, but 2 mornings a week I go to class, and the rest of the time I work. So my next class starts in a week, and then I'm just going to keep taking one class at a time until Kate's a bit older and she starts school, and then I can work towards getting my degree, and then taking the architectural exam, the license exam.
That's great.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your life now?
I feel lucky, really. I mean, for one, I can regret everything that happened, but I have my daughter, and I have my family, so I don't. And I'm in a position to stop other people from going through what I went through. And, I came out alive. No one's injured. And yeah, I regret missing my childhood. There's nothing I can never get it back. There's education I can never get back, because I'm trying to go forward. So I can't go back and study history that I never learned. But I read the newspaper, I read books, and so I make it. I get by, and I'm really, really happy. Like one day I remember I was riding my bike, I had Kate in a little trailer behind, and I was like, I can go and ride a bike whenever I want to. And I was so happy just to be able to just ride my bike, and I was like, I can go anywhere. One day I just thought, I want to go to Santa Barbara. It's like 2 hours up the coast. I called the hotel, I made a reservation, I got in the car, I drove up there, and I spent the weekend there with my daughter. It was just I felt so free. It was just unbelievable, because it's hard to understand for the average person, but you can't do anything. You can't leave the building without permission when you're in the Sea Org. So to be able to drive off and do anything, it's just unbelievable. And I mean, I think I'm doing well, because I'm working on my education. I work. I have my daughter. I have a boyfriend. He knows all about Scientology. He's very supportive. He's got a little daughter too, and I'm just really happy now. And that Zoe's out. That was the last thing. And my mother, my grandmother, and my brother never speak to me and won't ever speak to me again. But that was their choice, because I never said to them, I'm not going to speak to you. But they chose not to speak to me again, and that was their choice. So I can live with that even. I mean, it's upsetting, but at least I have my sister, I have my dad, and I have Kate, and they're the only ones who have been there for me, so that's what I care about the most. So I'm just happy to be out, happy to have met some other people who have gone through similar experiences, and happy to be able to say anything, to do anything to help other people who have left, or stop other people from getting involved in it before they know what really goes on there.